Anyway, so, but the problem was that you'd have a group of player killers, guild, I think it's called, that would live in the dungeon. So you'd have a bunch of like level 30 player killers that chose this level 5 dungeon as their home base. So you get all these new players to the game, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to go to the dungeon for my first time. And they're all like level 5, level 6. And they walk into the dungeon, and 10 players that are all level 30 jump on them and just beat the crap out of them. And is this any fun? No, it isn't. So I wrote into the game. I complained about it. I'm like, what's with the player killing and blah, 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 and it ruins the experience. Like, you know, they have all these dungeons designed for lower-level players, and the lower-level players literally cannot enter them without dying within a couple of seconds. So it's like you can't even go into a dungeon until you're like very high level, because even the higher level dungeons have even higher level player killers. Like if you go to a dungeon made for level 15 characters, then there'll be a bunch of level 40 player killers in there. So yeah, in that aspect it kind of ruined the game, but it also made for a much more interesting game. I can remember running away from some player killers, and they were like tracking me and stuff, and they were like tracking skills that would give them kind of a vague direction of which way I went, which way I was hiding. You know, I always talk with my hands, and most of the time you can't even see my hands in the camera. Like they're just, and considering I'm riding a motorcycle, it's a really bad habit. I should work on that. Anyways, so the player killers. Yeah, in the dungeons. Okay, yeah. It made for an interesting experience because I can remember if you were killed, you would lose everything that was on you, and you'd lose experience points, and it was a pretty major setback every time you got killed. It would set you back like hours and hours of playtime, as well as losing any favorite weapons and whatnot you happened to be carrying. So what I did was, am I still recording? Yeah. So what I did was, so the point was, it was exciting because I'd be running away from the guys in the dungeon, and in real life, I'd be sitting in front of my computer, and I'd be literally breaking out into a sweat, because there was like a real feeling, a real element of danger to what was going on. Like, if I was running from a rabid dog in real life, my heart wouldn't have been going much faster than it was with me playing this video game. Because I knew that these guys were chasing me, I knew they wanted to kill me, and I knew that if they did, it would be a real loss to me. You know, not a physical loss, but a loss nonetheless. So I was trying my hardest to get away from them, and the stress was there, and my heart's pounding, and I'm sweating, and it was an intense experience. I can remember this. You know, this is like 10 years later, and I still have memories of this. You know, but nowadays all these new online games they're a lot softer, you know, like the online game companies, they have all these people that complain about these kind of things, and I was one of them. But just because, you know, the customer doesn't always know what the customer wants. I see that a lot with my schools, you know, like the parents complain that you're being too strict with the kids, the parents complain that the classes are too easy, you need to be this, that. But if you listen to the parents' advice, it's a sure way to make your school close down, you know. And if you listen to just because the customers think they don't want player killing or whatnot, because once you take all these frustrating things out of the game, you're also taking out the rewarding parts. You're also taking out the element of danger as well. And like, I see these new online games, and they advertise no penalty death as like a feature to the game. Don't worry, if you die in the game, it's no big deal. You just get reborn somewhere else. No big deal. You don't lose anything. No stress. Well, geez, no stress is no excitement. Okay, so look at this. How is this for traffic? Jeez Louise. And the thing is that I'm on a motorcycle, so I shouldn't have any traffic whatsoever, because the motorcycles have a motorcycle lane. See this white line? Anything to the right of this white line is a motorcycle lane. And you get cocksuckers that are going to move over and go into this motorcycle lane. See? I got my own lane, motorcycle lane. But you just wait. Get the odd parked car in it. That's not the end of the world. this is the end of the world. When you get assholes that are trying to cut, they're just cutting in line, you know? Everybody else is lining up like they're supposed to. All these cars are lining up properly, and then these guys are just cutting. Anyways. So, yeah. I'm going to have to edit the hell out of this video later.